Welcome back to my Ford Transit Campervan build, and this episode is the long-awaited part 4 of the recirculating shower. So let's jump into it. So actual filter-wise, I've got a spin-down filter. I just ordered this off Amazon. It's the iSpring brand. Although it came from I ordered it on the UK Amazon and it came from American Amazon, so it had obscure pipe fittings. But I'll get onto that later on. So that's going to be the first point where the water gets cleaned. And then the second, again ordered, this is just ordered off the UK Amazon, the 3 cartridge filters. So when you have a cartridge, mount the cartridges in there, and then water's obviously put through those. And mount it a bit like that, to there. Because this is a European 1/2 inch thread, and this has a thread on the outside which I think is an American pipe thread, which is a male inch I think, and then the internal is a female 3/4 inch. So I managed to on eBay find a conversion between a European and American pipe thread fitting. So that works quite well to go in there, and that will go in the end of there. I'll put Teflon tape on to help seal those up. First off, all these bits of kit are directional. So this is so far if I want the water to come in from this side. Yeah, that side the direction is fine. On these, on the other hand, the direction at the minute is going the wrong way, so I'm going to have to take them apart and just swap the filter around the other way. However, I have noticed that the dark grey screws in here are stainless, which is fine. However, the light grey ones I suspect are zinc coated and they're going to rust over time. Eventually, I would presume. So I've just bought some stainless steel screws to replace those with, of the same, reasonably same diameter. So let's get this disassembled and swap this around to the side. So for the majority of the piping, I'm using John Guest 15mm speed fittings, and not the 12mm ones, which you get, which are made for camper vans and caravans and so on. Mainly because they're about 3 times the price, and it doesn't really seem worth it. So I'm using the 15mm commercial ones because there seems to be a lot more fittings available for them. Right, well it's raining again, so I just made a trip downtown. With my fittings on the end of here, it wasn't quietly wasn't quite fitting in my bit at the back of the shower, so I've made some slight modifications. If anyone wanted to know the difference between the 2 inserts you can get, one's like that and one's like that. These are the super seals, and although I can't imagine they're going to leak anyway, well I hope not, having in a van, having them not be able to leak is probably even better. Is this going to fit? Is it still going to be too big? Probably too big. Oh my goodness, that is extraordinarily close. Alright, there's not much in that. But it fits, that's the good bit. So, to be confusing, we'll start in the direction of flow. 15mm push fit to male cylinder coupling, which is 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch reducer, going into what is I think an MPT, so an American pipe thread on the inside, which is 3/4 inch, through the spin down filter, which is reusable and cleanable. So if this gets gunked up with gunk, you can then clean it out through the bottom, just opening the tap. And then we've got an American pipe thread adapter to a British pipe thread adapter, which is one of these, into the 3 cartridge filters. Now put around the right way, so direction flows this way. And then from the 1/2 inch British pipe thread to 15mm push fit, and then it's going to be elbow up here all the way back over to here to then come out the wall. So I'm just going to chuck a little bit of bathroom sealant into those holes and then put screws on top of them. How do I always make a mess? Good news! Made a mess as usual. That's mounted as what I thought I might have to do. As it's a plastic mount, there is flex in it. Now, I don't know if that's an issue or not, but in the long term I can't imagine that's particularly good for the plastic. So, I might make some modifications to it, or put something here just to brace it here. It's probably a better solution. So, down here are the two outlets for the drains in the shower. There's one there and there's one slightly further back, which is just dark so you can't see it at this moment in time. And those are going to basically come into this 5 litre holding tank at the very bottom, which is where the recirculating pump is going to pour them out of. The reason I'm not going directly into the recirculating pump is I want the option of basically any sediment or sand or grit or grass or whatever, which may go down the plug holes. So it will probably stay in the bottom of here, so I can clean that out, opposed to it only being able to go up into the pump or into the filters. So being able to sort of manually clean that tank is a good idea. I'm just going to put 2 of these bulkhead fittings basically in the back corner here, and then I'll be able to take the water out with the pump. So I need to get these absolutely close to the bottom I possibly can, so they actually seal up. So I've been trying to figure out the most space efficient way to fit this little tank, which is sort of like a grey temporary holding tank, in this cupboard somewhere efficiently. Originally I wanted to go like that, but to do that I lose most of this space over here. So playing around today with this sort of system, I can get it in that way using these sort of flexi pipes to make them meet up and not have to deal with loads of connections. The inlets on this tank are probably about a centimetre, about 10 mil to 15 mil higher than the actual pipes coming out the bathroom, which sounds like obviously water isn't going to run uphill or water isn't going to drain uphill, but it's only about 10 centimetres of a 40 centimetre pipe, so there will be some water sitting in the bottom of the pipe, but running it with the tap will easily fill that up pretty quick to have it just drain into here. The same pumps I've used last time, although probably overkill. I kind of thought on the principle, if I'm using a pump which can do 11.3 litres a minute, that I probably want a pump which can keep up with it and match that speed. I don't think I'm ever going to actually run the shower at 11 litres per minute. That would be a bit ridiculous, but a pump which can match it is probably a good idea. Although the problem with that is because it's quite a big pump. I've been playing around with ideas where I can fit this in here, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount it on here, because I've got access to sort of do that, and I'll be able to clean this filter out easily with the water coming up in here and then out the other side to go towards the filters. And what I'm going to do with the venting and heating is I'm just going to slightly change it up. I'm going to still have the heating going into the shower room, but I'm going to bring this forward, and opposed to having this out of the kick box below, I'm going to bring it forward and have it come out here and sort of make probably this not a door, like a fixed wall on the cabinet, and then move this forwards and have the vent coming out the bottom end of this. So it still gives me access to sort of take that lid off. These can be visible so I can see what's going on, and because they're visible means I know I've left the hot water on in that case if they're lit up. So I think I'm going to turn the camera off and, well, just cut some pipe and fit things together, then we'll get back to it. Fittings wise, I am using Flowplast 40mm waste pipe push fits. Because I find the push fit stuff really easy to use. There we go. Those are all mounted up. We'll mount this as well. Right, scary bit of the build. I've got to drill some holes into a nice PVC cupboard. So I need to drill a hole here, going out there, and a hole where this one goes going out here, and they will come out this side wall here. This is where the UV filter is going to be mounted, up in here, and then that goes under there with the access area and all the hot water tanks and stuff like that. Right, just going to mount the fittings on. Since these are plastic half inch and these are plastic half inch, I'm not going to use Teflon tape because there's no need to use Teflon tape as a lubricant. And it just says doing these hand tightened, they should seal up sufficiently. Right, good progress has been made. So this is mounted. I've put the pump on the front of here for the recirculating shower, and I'm about to connect up the grey from there up into going into the pump, which is then going to go up around there and go into the filter system. So next part of the final part of the filtering system is, after it's gone through all the spin down filter and the sedimentary filters, it's also got to go through a UV filter, which kills any bacteria or anything living potentially in the water. And the way that's going to work is just going to get mounted in there. It's got a UV bulb in the middle, which has actually the UV part of it. And then this 12-volt ballast, which is what basically controls the UV lamp, turns it on. And I'm going to have that rigged up so when you turn the shower's recirculating system on, as in with the pump, it's also going to turn that on, so that the UV light isn't always running when it's not needed to. So I'm just going to get that all mounted. So got the UV system all linked up and everything's actually now plumbed in. So grey water comes in from the shower drains into here, pump sucks it up, fillers up there, goes that one there in the middle, which then comes across here, through there, through those filters, back through the UV filter, out the UV filter, and dumped into the hot water tank on the far one. Right, as you can see, I have an absolute mess of plumbing parts, but it's time to finally fit the actual shower mixer. So I've gone for a shower mixer like this. This is not a thermostatic mixer, where you have one handle which does sort of the flow and one which does the temperature, and it makes the temperature from the water, hot and cold water. This is just a straight hot tap and cold tap. The reason being is my whole water system is my whole water system is designed to be set at a temperature and used at that temperature. So it's recommended if you have a shower using the hot water system I've got, you set it to the temperature you want, but you don't mix it because you're going to cool it down. So I've got it so I can just have the hot tap on, which would be just straight hot water from the tank at the temperature it's set at, which I think I'm going to go about 40 degrees, but I'll be playing around with it. And then the cold tap, one, to buy a single tap for a shower I couldn't find. But the reason I've got the hot tap, the cold tap as well, it means I can also just use fresh water from the fresh water tank if I want to like wash kit off or something in the shower room, to then just wash down the drain to clean kit. So give me sort of options for that. I'm going to mount it with a mounting kit. I was running into issues figuring out how I was going to mount it because these don't really fit in here. I'll show you. So my shortest fitting was too thick for the wall, so I've gone for a normal copper pipe compression fitting, which we're going to drill a small hole, as you can see. That still fits within the ream of the bar, the ream of the wall, size of the wall. More or less how this system works is... So how this works is we're going to be using a 25mm hole. Imagine that's all in there. That'll be now, it's nicely mounted to that, like so. That goes on there. That goes on there. That gets screwed on here. That will be cut to be the length of this. Then you can put the face on it, make it look all neat, and then this will be cut shorter, and then you'll screw that onto the end of there like that. Right, just to give you a quick update on the shower. Well, labelled up so I don't forget which one's which. I've got the hot and colds. I've put non-return valves in because the way this mixer works, if I turn the hot on, water would want to come out. Well, water could go there, but I don't want the water to feed back into the cold system, or vice versa, because there would be a pump on each end. So I've put some non-return valves. Right, we're not far off testing. This pump is all connected up, as is this one, but I've just done a quick switch on and off for them, and it's surprising how much of an effect the way the piping setup is. So this is the recirculating pump. It's actually quite loud. This is the hot water pump. Both the same pumps. The reason I think it is because I've got all this nice flex in there. And you can see that vibrates a lot. This one, on the other hand, I guess I got it quite securely mounted. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this little bracket here and these little brackets here. So it should hopefully give some flex in these joints and quiet it down a bit. So it's almost time to test the system. I haven't got my 20 micron filter hasn't arrived yet, so I'm just going to test it with a 5 micron sedimentary filter in this one, and then a 5 carbon filter in this one. As I haven't yet built the compartment, I've just put a plastic bag over the battery and a little barrier. I haven't got the cold water rigged up at the minute, but we're going to test the hot water system. So going out here into this pump, set up into there with a non-return valve, and it should pressurize the system and then stop, and then I'll turn this on, and then when we open that tap this should start pumping, and the water's going to go into the drain holes, through there, run into there, fill up that until it reaches the bottom of that pipe, and then suck it up through there and push it through the filters. Right, time to test. So let's turn the hot water pump on, open this. Should prime itself. Right, it's primed up to 45 psi. What? Huh? Okay, so that works. So let's turn the recirculating shower pump, which is going to be quite loud. The pump's running, it's usually about 4.5 to 5 amps, sometimes 5.5 amps. So we're going to do a temperature test with hot water running through the system. We're going to heat the diesel heaters on. It's currently heating up the, got to heat the hot water to 40 degrees, and then we're going to run the system through. I've had to give it a little test before and it works quite well. It started at 40 degrees and then it initially dropped down to about 31 when it basically flushed all the cold water sitting in the filters, into the hot water tank, and then it basically climbed back up to 40 degrees slowly. In the minute I was using the pumps wide open, so it's maximum, which is like 11.6 litres a minute. I use it in normal sort of domestic shower head, so not one which is like water saving or stuff like that. So yeah, it's going to be sort of a playing around with limiting the flow, but we'll just do a test and see how that works out. So the water is currently 35 degrees from my test earlier this morning, so it should heat up to 40 degrees pretty quick, but we'll wait until the heat is fully going and we're at like the high 70 degrees. Right, it's up to 45 degrees, so let's turn the recirculating pump on, and then let's turn that on, pressurise the system and turn the water on back. So there should be an initial drop as all the cold water sitting in the filters gets put into the tank, and then it should start to climb again. The shower's been running for about 10 minutes now. Quite steamy. That's not the fan, that's just because the lens is all steamed up. It's going to take some tweaking to figure out the optimal way to basically keep the shower hotter. The reason in my system I've got to think about the hot water is because the heating system I use is not really designed to do this. So it's sort of playing it around a bit experimental. That heating system's only 2.1 kilowatts worth of heat energy, so it's not a load to be doing it for a recirculating shower, but it is working. Pretty happy actually. So I started it at 45 degrees. I said it would be 40, but I did 45 degrees. And then the thermal drop from the cold water getting flushed was 5 degrees higher than starting at 40. That little test, it only got back up to 38 degrees. Which is still, you know, a nice shower. I want to try and get it back to 40. I don't know if I had left it longer it would have. So there's a few things I'm going to play with. Pretty much going to end this episode here. Initial tests, happy. It had thermal gain and not catastrophic thermal losses, which was my worry. And I think in its current mode you could probably have quite a nice long to hot shower. But next time I'm going to test it and see if we can improve upon it. So thank you very much for joining me. I will hopefully see you again next time. If you have any questions, shoot me a message on my Instagram. The details for that are in the description below. And yeah, cheers, bye.